right, now we have Vlad and Alex from Adobe with the presentation about App Builder and Composable Commerce.
I'm just going to steal your thunder here a second.
See you all. Yep, cool. Great to see you all. So Alex and Vlad, we're here to talk to you today about Adobe Commerce, so App Builder and Composable Commerce. So today we're going to kind of talk around the industry trends. Why is this such a hot topic at the moment? Why does everyone keep talking about it? Why is it being annoying? Hopefully kind of get down into that. Then we're going to kind of go through what Adobe's offer is. Spoiler, it's in the title. It's App Builder, so a little preview of that. Then we're also kind of going to go through what the benefits are, why you should start looking at it, taking it more seriously, and start implementing it if you're not already doing that. So just to kick things off. So yeah, I'm Alex Dixon, solution consultant here at Adobe. So I joined Adobe back in January, so still fairly new to the team. This is my first Meet Magento, so it's been really great to meet some of you all here today. Yeah, it's been good to kind of get some face-on value with customers. So yeah, previously worked in e-com for a number of years. I joined Adobe from PayPal, so I'm kind of used to all that, online customer journey kind of thing. But yeah, it's really great to kind of be here at Meet Magento today, kind of talk to you about it a bit further. Pass on to my lovely colleague, Vlad.
Thank you very much, Alex. So really nice to be here. I'm Vlad. I'm a solution consultant with Adobe only since September. But before that, I've been 12 years in my own agency. Pretty much I've integrated Magento 1. You all know Magento 1, I hope. And then Adobe Commerce with whatever third-party systems you can think of. So yeah, that's my background. Really nice to be here. And I'm going to pass it back to Alex for the industry trends.
Cool.
See how that looks like.
Great. So yeah, we've got a couple of things on our agenda here, like I mentioned. We've got industry trends. We're going to go into Adobe's offering. Then we're going to talk about the value of Composable. So cool. To kick things off, and apologies in advance, this is the buzzword slide, so you're going to get all the phrases like acceleration, digital transformation stuff, but we're going to try and break them down a bit further, kind of explain what they mean and how they can be applied by you, what the challenges these words offer. So to kick things off, we're going to talk about first heightened levels of customer expectation. So when customers come to your websites now, they're wanting more. They're wanting more compelling experiences. They're wanting something more authentic. They want a shopping experience that feels real and genuine for them. They're not wanting any static pages. Those days are kind of gone now. If you go to an Amazon now, you just get the same old stuff that your neighbor gets next door. It's not very exciting. It's not very fun. You want to kind of go there. You want to see the offers. You want to get content relevant to you. There's also a larger need for digital commerce acceleration. Again, one of those buzzwords, sorry. So yeah, what do we mean by this? Well, brands all around the world are expanding their markets. They're increasing the channels that they've got available. And they're also changing the business models to adapt with the current trends at the moment. So we need to ensure that we're able to keep up with that level of acceleration, or you might just get left behind. Next, we're going to bring on to the increased pressure to digitally transform. So now customers going to the website, they're expecting a personalized experience. They're expecting something different. So we need to start utilizing data more, making sure that we're incorporating it and able to use that to offer better services to the customer. So that includes picking up more use of AI and machine learning. We're kind of at a really cool cusp now where we're seeing how useful AI and machine learning can be. So instead of just product recommendations, live search, well, there's a lot more coming in the future. And with a composable style solution, you're going to be ready to implement that as and when it's ready. Pass on to Vlad.
Thank you. Can you teach me how to use this?
Yeah, it's just next. So
all right,
the green
cool.
one.
So thank you very much, Alex, for that. So what are the challenges? Now, I don't want to tell you what the challenges are. You can see them on the screen. But let's start with the story and see how many of you can find themselves in this story. So I know there are developers in the room, there are merchants in the room, there are agency CEOs in the room, right? So I've been in my own agency, and one of the problems that I had was the customer comes to the agency. They have a budget sometimes they don't, but they have a time frame, and they would like to get things done as fast as possible, right? And then as an agency, you can agree with that or you can discuss it, but most of the times you just want to get the customer. You want to get to work with them, right? And then what happens is you get a set of specifications, you agree with them, or the sales team agrees with them, and then all the hard work falls on the developers, right? Because the developers, they need to do that fast, and then they start cutting corners in order to meet that time frame. So Does this sound familiar? No? Yes. Yeah? That's really nice, yeah. So we have custom capabilities, integrations are costly. We all know how building out these components takes a lot of time and also locks the customer into one solution. There's also a very high effort to implement and develop new features, right? And then creating those data pipelines and sharing the data can be quite complex. And multiple data systems are sometimes needed for making a fast decision. So now let's see how Adobe comes to meet these challenges, right? Let's see how it can solve them. So what is Adobe's offering? We're going to talk about App Builder. What is App Builder and why should we use it, right? So App Builder is a serverless extensibility platform that allows you to integrate and create custom experiences and extend the Adobe solution. And this is now available for Adobe Commerce. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with App Builder, so yeah. And what can you do with it? Well, you can build secure and scalable apps that will extend, and this is important, will extend Adobe Commerce's native functionality, as well as will allow you to integrate with third-party systems. And not only that, it's also going to allow your developers, and this is the key part, it's going to allow your developers to focus on building the apps. Because Adobe is going to take care of provisioning, managing compute, storage, and CDN capacity. So you're going to be able to pretty much reduce the development time from weeks to potentially even hours in certain situations. So very important, App Builder requires no customization of the core product code, which results in simplified upgrades and lowers your cost of ownership. And what would be a common use for App Builder? Well, integrating with third-party systems like ERPs, PIMs, and also allows you to build single-page apps to enhance the admin or the buyer experiences. Now, on this slide, we see here, I think this is the laser, right? We see here API mesh. So now let's see what API mesh means. Hopefully, there we go. Cool. So what is API mesh? It's a layer. It's an API orchestration layer that will allow you to combine multiple sources of APIs into one single unified graph. So developers can now easily add, upgrade, or replace Adobe or third-party services into one mesh through a very simple configuration. So these APIs can also be extended right at the mesh level if it's needed, with no need to modify the source services. And also with API mesh, the storefront developers no longer need to understand how to connect and authenticate with all the services needed for the shopping experiences. They just simply query the API mesh, and it takes care of retrieving the data from the appropriate service. It's as easy as that. And it can even cache certain API responses to deliver faster performance. Now let's see how, just going to move quickly to the next slide. Let's see how the Adobe Commerce architecture looks like in the context of App Builder and API mesh. So we have the first layer, right there in the green part, where the shopper events are going to be captured. And this layer integrates with via GraphQL with the API mesh layer, where the App Builder or App Builder instances reside. And from that point, we have the Adobe Commerce multi-tenant SaaS, where services such as Live Search, Channel Manager, SaaS Indexer, or even product recommendations. But notice how product recommendations are served via a storefront collector, right? And from that point, the whole API mesh layer then connects with the Adobe Commerce Foundation, also via GraphQL. Cool. So for a more technical overview on this, I'm really happy to take more questions at the end of the session. And yeah, let's see how deep we can get into the App Builder and API mesh. So now I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Alex, and he's going to present the value of Composable. Thank you.
Cool. Cheers for that, Vlad. So yeah, I think Vlad's given like a really good example, high-level overview. So obviously it's a massive topic to kind of cover in such a short space of time. So yeah, as Vlad said, we'll be down by the booth before we leave for drinks. So catch us then or after if you want a really bad explanation of how it works. So I'm sure Vlad will still do well. So yeah, that takes us on to next, the value. So what does Composable get you? What are the benefits of doing it? And how can we use App Builder to generate that value? So to kick things off, we're going to talk about flexibility. So with Composable, it enables you to use the products and the features and components that you need. If you need it, you switch it on. If you don't need it, you don't have it enabled. So it gives you a lot more flexibility with what you actually have on your core website, and it gives you a lot more control over what features you do and don't have on your storefront. Next, we're going to talk about the best-in-breed components. So best in breed, there's obviously a lot of vendors here today. They'll say that theirs is the best in breed. We'll leave that up to you. But what it means is it gives you the flexibility to pick what you think is the best, what's most appropriate for you. Because every business is different, every component's going to be different, and it's going to need to meet your use case in the correct way. Composability with App Builder gives you that option to make sure that you've chosen the exact right component that's going to be beneficial to you. We've got agility. So this is a really important one, and this is how App Builder can actually massively benefit you. So with agility, like I said before, you can easily switch on and switch off components as and when you need. But also with App Builder, you're able to scale these automatically through Adobe Commerce. So you don't have to worry about that again. We kind of take care of that for you. We can also have these where they're provisioned individually. So you can load them on and load them off as you need. You don't need to prep them all. It's a much quicker time to market. There's no need to kind of implement a brand new system. You can just deploy it in a much faster way. Next, customer experience. Again, a massive one. As I mentioned earlier, every business is different, and you want components that represent your business. But at the same time, every customer base is different, and your customers are going to want something different from other customers as well. So by being able to pick and choose which components work best for you and work best for your components, you're able to build a much more bespoke solution that's going to fill the needs of your customers individually rather than a more generic approach. So there's loads of value there, especially when it comes to customer experience. Going back to that personalization piece again, having individual components that you can start to bring that on or breathe it together from the one platform. And finally, we've got cost savings. Obviously, you don't want to be paying for features that you don't use. With App Builder and Composable Commerce, if you don't use a feature, you don't have to pay for it. You're not using it. You don't have it in the system. It gives you the option to shop about what's the most value for you, how experimental and worthwhile is this going to be. You can try it on cheaper, and then you can learn if you want to scale it up, go for a different vendor, try what's right for you without these big, long releases every time. Further to that, it means that you don't have to rely on just an all-in-one solution. You can start to build up little components to make sure that you're getting the end result that you want rather than buying an all-in-one solution. So it's a much more cost-effective way of doing this. Cool. It's been great speaking with you all today. So we're going to talk about some of the key takeaways. So obviously, we kicked off by discussing why it's such a hot topic, did all the buzzwords and stuff, and kind of tied them all in again. We also had a great demo, high level, from Vlad, like we said before. Come join us afterwards for a little talk. Again, we'll be at drinks, so we'll be there. Happy to talk about it well into the early hours of tomorrow. And yeah, we talked about why it's important, what the benefits are for you, and why you should start looking at it or implementing it more if that's not something you're already doing at the moment. Just want to say that here at Adobe, we're here to kind of do this journey with you. So yeah, let's kind of get composed. Don't know if that's a term, but, but yeah, thank you everyone, and open to some questions.